Welcome to Dodgers Daily. Casey Porter here. So glad you decided to tune in. Fans, today, as we do, well, not necessarily. We kind of switch back and forth between Tuesdays and Wednesdays. We did not have a game to talk about yesterday, so we had a game from last night to talk about today. So Coach Holland is back with us on Wednesday, Coach. It has been a frustrating patch.
Yes, it has. I mean, it just when you think, hey, here we come, man. We're getting our bearings back, and the team we all expected to see, and then you have to go backwards, one step forward, two steps back, as they used to say. It sounds like, sounds stupid when you're sitting here talking about the team leading the National League West by 2.5 games. Thank God the Padres can't beat anybody. Or the Dodgers would be in some world of hurt now, but the Padres, I think, lost 3 in a row. And I think Dodgers still got a 2.5 game lead, so that's good in that respect. But we're still looking for hit that surge, and we still got time to do it. But time is running out. I mean, we're 138 games in.
Yeah.
Less than 24 games left. So, it is getting down to the short rows, as they say, on the farm, and in Glencoe, Oklahoma, on the Porter farm is down the short rows. So we need to. Hopefully hit you. It's good to see Mookie swinging it a lot better. I think that's something that's continually been getting better. That's a good sign for the Dodgers. Will's continually to hit well, and Freddie has had a little down spout, but he's pretty much back to being Freddie. And Ohtani's Ohtani. And I know we'll talk about this later, but I started to text you last night when I saw that outer third pitch that he doubled the left center, and I was like,
twice. There we go. There we go. Now he's hitting the pull side. We're not saying don't hit the pull side home runs, but he's capable of hitting the pull side home runs like he did 120 miles an hour, and then also gathering hits to left center. That's the Ohtani the Dodgers need.
Yes, and that's the talent, the world-class talent. A lot of tell you the most talent maybe in baseball right now as far as pure talent. So that guy, get that outer third fastball or whatever. I don't even care what it was. All I know is he stayed on it and drove it to left center. I think they got a bad jump out there. Center fielder probably could have made a play on it. Cruz didn't play exceptionally well. That's okay. The ball, I don't care. I just like the bat, the approach, and what he did with that pitch was great to see.
There were a couple of times where I thought the Dodgers were buried, and then there were a couple of times to where I thought the Dodgers were going to win. It was that roller coaster that ended up on the down part of it last night. Clayton Kershaw comes out and gives up the 4th spot, and you're like, okay, well, this guy's been absolutely awesome all year. He was due a game like this, and so this just kind of is what it is. The Dodgers are just going to kind of go away with a whimper tonight. And then they just continue to fight back. They scored a couple, then they scored one, then they scored another, and then they got themselves all the way back. So I really thought the Dodgers were buried after the 4th spot early. Then I thought, after the Dodgers fought all the way back, Andy Paez hits a home run, you end up being tied. I thought you were going to win then. And then I thought the Dodgers were going to win again whenever Will Smith got the gift and the base hit in the 8th inning. So it's just one of those roller coasters that the Dodgers did not end up on the right side of.
But it's got exactly what you say. The great thing is that we're seeing that in competitiveness, the fire, the Dodgers. We know that the talent they have, that has nothing to do with it. But like you said, there were several times, here we come. Yeah, that's a tough break, blah, blah, blah. Here we come. Yeah, every time we look like we have a chance, the Pirates would do something, but the Dodgers come right back. I'm like, I never really felt they were totally out of it until the last out was made. I kept thinking, well, they've shown this is one of those games. You just feel like something big is going to happen late. We've had a few of those games this year, but the great thing about Kershaw, like you said, he gave up 4 in the first, and the thing I like to talk about now, the last 4 he's zeros. He threw zeros up after that after a rough start, and that's what you expect out of a veteran pitcher who knows who he is, and we know he's still got his reaction time for an old man. That's a hell of a pickup on that line drive from Tommy Pham.
Need to charge those, Coach. You used to tell us you had to charge those, right?
That's right. Get down there. Get your butt down, charge it. Yes, sir. But what a great catch there. And I saw him looking up at his family going, I was scared. That was scary. You could read his lips. That was scary. No doubt it was scary watching it. Yeah. And just hoping he didn't get hit. First thing you go, oh, crap, he got hit. But it's actually in his glove. So the old man still got a lot. He's got a lot of great things to offer the Dodgers, and definitely got his reaction time still.
He does. And it was just a beautiful thing. Of course, you don't like the 4th spot that he gave up early that put the Dodgers in a deep hole. But in a weird way, we'll get into the Kershaw, the part of it here in just a second. In a weird way, I turned to my wife and I said, you know what? In it's kind of strange way, this might be a good thing that the Pirates scored 4 in the first inning, because these guys can't just sit around and just try to score a couple of runs late and try to win a game like that. They've got to get their asses in gear immediately. So in kind of a weird way, it did jumpstart the offense that the Pirates did score 4 early runs.
Well, it's like you say, you get punched in the face first. You took the first punch. 4 in the bottom of the first. All of a sudden, your back's against the wall to begin with. So I know there's no such thing as, I don't think, of going into a city and thinking you just got this one made. This team's in last place, their division. We just got to show up. I don't think that's a thing. The big leagues.
Paul Skeens hitting on the mound. We're good. That kind of thing.
Yeah, we're good. Yeah, we don't have to face the Skeens. Blah blah blah. And next thing you know, you're down 4-0. So, but yeah, that's true. I mean, hit you in the mouth, and the Dodgers showed a lot of what we saw last year and what we've seen a lot of times this year. But there is sometimes we haven't seen that. So it was good to see, again, the positives. You see the guys who we've been waiting on to kind of come around are coming around, and we'll see how it goes moving forward. The bullpen got beat up. Got beat up there. Too many walks. I mean, that started with Kershaw.
That's all the way through the organization, Coach. AAA Oklahoma City, AA Tulsa, Great Lakes. Rancho's been better. Too many walks throughout the entire organization this year.
Too much free baseball. I mean,
yes.
Nobody. They don't have to do anything to get on base. It drives every coach and manager from T-ball all the way up to the big leagues. Walks. Free baseball. Just free bases given up, as we used to always say. I'm sure you said 1,000 times, every coach that's ever coached, I don't want to give up 90 feet for no damn reason. I'm just not going to hand you 90 feet. And that's where I was always a guy that probably on the first and third situation, hell, I probably threw more than anybody.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't like the idea of giving a goddamn base.
Especially when it's first base.
Warranted. Yeah, unless you get a situation warrants it, where you can go ahead and cut it. And,
right.
Or you got to cut it and try to keep the guy from scoring at third. But for the most part, throw the damn guy out. Let's get the out. I don't want to give away 90 feet.
Yeah. Yeah, unless you feel like you're giving up a run, which that's kind of that's a discussion for another day. But I thought Clayton Kershaw, we got to see a Hall of Fame performance in this way last night. He had to pivot. A lot of times young pitchers, whenever they struggle early in a game, your temptation is to increase your energy level and just try to throw the ball harder, right? And a lot of times that's when your ball straightens out. That's when the snowball gets bigger. So we saw Clayton Kershaw, what he actually did, he started pivoting to his curveball. He started changing speeds. He started keeping Pittsburgh off balance. So we saw the veteran, just the way that he approaches struggles, in the sense that he actually went softer with more curveballs and more location and more execution than he did trying to ramp things up.
No, that's a great thing. That I'm a big fan of Greg Maddox. I know you are too, Case. That's one of his famous quotes. A lot of guys when they struggle, they try to throw harder. He said, "I try to locate." He said, so first of all, I don't throw hard, but I damn sure don't try to throw harder. He said, when I'm struggling somewhat, then I try to do location. Then I try to have location. Of course, his case, he had a lot of movement too. But, that's like I said, the new version of Clayton Kershaw is a pleasure to watch. Yeah, he gave up 4 in the first there, but like I said, he threw up 4 zeros after that, and gave his team a chance to come back.
Did.
So, that's all you want out of your guy. He didn't, get over there and piss and moan and pout about it. He's been around too long to do that. He just went over there and refocused and threw 4 shutout innings, get the Dodgers get back in the game. But, yes, don't throw harder. Locate. Make quality pitches. You almost have to be more fine after you fall behind like that instead of trying to throw it harder.
Very disappointed in Garda Henriquez. I've been tooting his horn for quite a while. Hey, he's ready to be a high-leverage guy. He comes out and gives up 3 runs in just a third of an inning. So it's like one of those deals to where, just minimize, so that Garda Henriquez has the high ceiling right now, but the problem is his floor is too low. So it's like he either goes out and he's great and he's throwing at 103 miles an hour and you're thinking, oh, this guy could be a future closer. But then when the bottom falls out, it falls down way too much. So very disappointed that Edgardo Henriquez didn't have a higher floor with this ceiling last night with the 3 runs. There's going to be times where you give up runs, but give up 1, maybe 2, don't just let it completely snowball, right?
We give up 1 hit and you give up 3 runs.
Yeah, right.
And it goes back to the same thing we were just talking about. It's the 2 walks. The 2 walks kill you. The free baseball again. Then then one run becomes, one hit becomes run. In this case, one hit became 3 runs.
Which is the only way the Pirates can beat you.
Yes, is to the free baseball type deal. And, they've got a couple of really good players up and down, but for the most part, their lineup doesn't scare you. But they're Major League Baseball players. I know she posted that last night. They've got Major League Baseball players like everybody else. Something just because maybe we don't know all those guys because we don't follow them that well, but you can't just hand them base runners after base runners. And then to credit to the Pirates, they got some key hits. I mean, they got key hits in situations you're thinking, all right, the Dodgers are going to get out of it. There's a base hit. So that's a credit to the Pirates. You'll give them some credit also. They took advantage of the free baseball, all the walks.
The problem is not the Padres. The problem is the Mets and everybody else, because as of right now, you're in the wild card round. I mean, who in the hell wants to play the New York Mets in the wild card in the best 2 out of 3? Who wants that, right? That's your problem.
No, there's no doubt about it. Hell, I was even looking, of course, Brent Antoine, your friend of mine. Yeah. He's a big Cubs fan. I saw him last week. He's like, hey, we're going to play each other in a wild card. Like, hell, that's a road trip. I hope not. But, but you dang sure don't want to play the Mets, especially now with our boy Nolan McLean has come on the scene for the Mets. Rookie has won his first 4 starts. First guy to do that since 2014, I think. And just a tremendous start for the rookie, and their team's been playing. Well, you're right, Case. The Mets are hitting their stride. We know they got a good team. They had a good team last year. They got a really good team still, and it seems like they're hitting their stride. And a guy like Nolan McLean is giving them a big boost on the mound to go along with we already know is a outstanding team. Yeah, I'm with you. And at this point, the way the 2 teams are playing, I'd rather play the Cubs just because they're not playing real well. And, they've kind of been like the Dodgers. They've had some injuries too, but they're not playing as well. But getting the Mets in the first round, that's a damn tough duty.
Yeah, so
we've had that before.
Yeah, Michael Kopech has not been good in his rehabs. His last rehab at AAA Oklahoma City was a complete disaster. His first rehab was a complete disaster. The 3 in between that, I believe it was 3 were okay. So if you're going to work, I know Dave said that, hey, the major league bump, the focus from being in a major league stadium, I think will correct all those issues that we saw at Oklahoma City. I think we saw last night there is no magical button for those types of situations. So if you're going to work Michael Kopech in, you're going to try to do it in a lower leverage. Maybe you're losing the game last night when he came in. The Dodgers were still down 2. Right. Do you like the situation where they brought him in last night, or would you rather it be a bigger spread where you're losing to where there's less leverage to it if he does not have a good outing?
The fact what he's coming off of, like you said, he hadn't been great in his rehab outing. So, I don't have access. I watch the Dodger games. I should know, but I don't have access to the guys they had available. But yeah, you'd like to see him for him also to come in a situation where there's not so much pressure on him, where he can kind of hopefully work himself back in. We know the type of arm he's got, and we know how he could be very important down the road. But yeah, that was a tough situation for him to come back in. He struggled some, had another walk and a hit, that sort of thing. Kind of bounced around a little bit on the location also. So, yeah, I'd like to see him not come in that situation. But, again, I don't have access to I'm not privy to who was available and who wasn't.
Yeah, 100%. So another head-scratching situation for the Dodgers to where, as just put on your coach's hat here, after an off day, a lot of college football coaches do this because, you have so much time between your last game and your bowl game. They're like, what do we do with that extra time? Whatever the Dodgers are doing in their off days right now is not working because they have not been good after off days, and they continue to play down to their competition. What is going on here? Of course, if anybody knew the solution to that this wouldn't be happening. So we're just all speculating. But what do you see here?
Well, it's kind of like when you get the first round bye. We've seen it.
Right.
It goes to hell. Everybody's, the Dodgers have tried several different things. I guess since they won it all last year, what they did last year is they went to the ballpark every day. The guys hung out. They just went to the park every day and hit and probably played cards and went out and played golf and baseball golf, probably knocked back a few beers and just kind of hung out together that entire week and worked out as they did it. And that seemed to be the one that worked.
All right, Coach, so we continue our series with the Pittsburgh Pirates today, and it is a situation to where I have been saying for a long time, maybe I've been trying to talk myself into it. Hey, this is coming around. That's coming around. You're getting reinforcements. Tommy Edman played last night. Kyle Hurt pitched. Maybe you're going to get Max Muncy back. Nothing seems to be sticking right now, though. So as a Dodgers fan, what should the DEFCON be in terms of being just concerned right now?
Well, I think our DEFCON is maybe 3. I don't know, Case. It's like I said, we're down to 24 games left in the regular season. Got a 2.5 game lead. But I'm like you. We're looking at the wild card. So who are we going to play in the freaking wild card? So, but I'm like, is Muncie, Edmonds, the guys you just talked about? Are we going to get them back? We've got some back already. We know, that we're going to get some more back. But you're still sitting there going, okay, but it's
like we're so far away from being a good team right now. It's like it's just 1 or 2 players actually that big of a difference. Maybe Max.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's right, because the reason you say you're absolutely correct on that, in my opinion, is because some of our issues have been there all year and they haven't gone away. I mean, we've talked about this, and I guess I would say late May, Case, when we kind of started, we all kind of started seeing a little chink in the Dodgers' armor, so to speak. And kind of late May, when things kind of, it's just a rough stretch. We'll go ahead. Hell, here we are, September 3rd. Really? Mm-hmm. I mean, hell, so now it's not, we got to get somebody back. He's been hurt. He's not playing, blah, blah, blah. But the reality of it is, since late May, it's kind of been going on. A lot of the things that weren't going well, that haven't gone well, are still there. So getting somebody up from Oklahoma City has been hurt, or getting somebody back who's been injured, who's been a key player in the past, that does, so far it really hasn't proved, like you said, that big a difference in the issues the Dodgers have had. It's just one of those years. I know Dave Roberts, you can see it on his face. Dave's a young man. I mean,
if he had answers, he would have already given them by now. By the way,
yes, absolutely.
He doesn't have answers to this.
Said a while ago.
Yeah,
if you can figure out what the hell's wrong with the day off, fix it. Hell, you'd be a multi-millionaire. If he knew what the problem was, if he knows what the problems are, if he knew how to fix it, it'd already be fixed. So you're right. Give the man credit. I know every day he wakes up, that's what he does for a living. The minute he wakes up, he's the Dodger manager until he goes to bed at night. So I know he spends every waking moment trying to figure things out, just like the whole front office. And again, I got tons of respect and confidence in those guys, all the way down through the coaching staff, the minor league staffs. But we've been there, Case. Sometimes it's frustrating as a coach. In our case, managers, front office, just like we never really got there. And the Dodgers have never really got to where expectations are, I guess is the best way of putting it.
Yeah. Yeah, I said a couple of weeks ago that, hey, maybe the front office was right in the sense that they knew that they had reinforcements coming back, and so no need to give up the farm, knowing that you're actually kind of getting a trade deadline with all your injured guys back. So maybe it's the exact opposite. Maybe they knew, hey, this team just is flawed. It's for them to win the World Series, it would – it's not in a situation that, in our opinion, where it's like a favored type situation. So, hey, in the case that you're probably not going to win the World Series, don't give away the farm in that scenario. So it's kind of one of those deals to where one day you feel like the Dodgers are figuring things out. The next day you feel like it's almost hopeless. One of those deals, which in some weird ways makes it almost more entertaining to watch, because it's like every single day. Of course, here in Oklahoma, Southern California people, they like their weather because it's the same every day. But in Oklahoma, it's like every day something's different, which kind of brings you variety. So it's certainly, if you like variety, this has been your season.
No doubt about it. I mean, we all feel great about the Dodgers and the front office. Like you said, trade deadline, they had a plan right there. This team is, and I agree with them. This team, all things considered, are good enough to win the World Series. Okay, that being the case, they chose not to make a lot of big moves or sell the farm, as you mentioned, on the trade deadline. They made the best decisions at the trade deadline, and every day that they think is going to be the best for the Dodgers right now. They're trying to win the World Series this year. We know that. That's the way it is. That's why we love it. But it could be wrong, Case.
Yeah.
That's the other part.
Always.
That doesn't mean
Tanner Scott might not recover. He gave up 3 runs the other day. Kirby Yates may never be any good for the rest of this year. Those kind of things. Michael Kopech might not be able to even be a factor because he can't throw enough strikes. Those things might happen. Tommy Edman might turn into the hitter he's always been. Max Muncy might not make his way back. All those things could happen. That's why we said this has been a lot of ifs.
Yes, and there's so many things you that you have no control over, especially in this game. That's why we love it. But there's so many things that they could end up being wrong. I've done it. You've done it. We've all done it. That's been. I can remember being as a principal, high school principal, and making decisions. And a few years ago, a young woman teacher come in, and she wasn't real happy with me over a decision I made. And I looked her right in the face. My superintendent said, and I said, "You may be right. What I did is I made the best decision I felt at that time for this situation." I said, and I told her, hell, I may be wrong. Time will tell. It's the same old thing. I have no doubt the Dodgers front office and staff are going to make the best decisions at the time, the information they have, and they've got tons of info. They've got everything they need to make those decisions, Case. But it doesn't necessarily mean they're going to come out right. Like your Ward told me years ago, sometimes you look like a genius, sometimes you look like a dumbass. And that's just the nature of this business. And, we're all, as Dodger fans, really hoping that we get the final results what we want. But could have been, they can look back later and say, well, I guess that wasn't the right thing to do.
Maybe. But, you can play the if game. You can play the if game on both sides. You could have went and got Stephen Kwan, and he could have been Xander Bogaerts, who's hitting 192 in his last 15 games. That could have happened too. Plus, you gave away Josue De Paula and guys like that on top of it, right? So you can play that if game both ways. All the way,
no doubt about it. And like I said, I still have, we know the track record of our front office and the staff all the way down, and our team is great. So, but doesn't mean they're going to be 100% right. Like you said, they're still trying to figure out doing that off week. Now they're probably going to like you're talking about. They're probably going to start trying to figure out what the hell we're doing on our day off.
Yeah, right.
They'll just show up at the ballpark and just have a 3-hour workout. Shit, I don't know. I don't know. Just keep them in the scheme of. We've seen that in football also. The teams that come in the wild card just keep playing. The Giants one year never played a game at home. And go and beat the Patriots in the damn Super Bowl, undefeated Patriots team. So you get hot, you get good teams, things start going their way. Confidence, playing for. I remember Matt Holliday saying after the 2011 World Series, we played for each other. That's all the hell they did. Absolutely. We're played for each other. When you get to that point, it's a beautiful thing to see, like the Dodgers did last year, and what pretty much every team's ever won something. If you look at it, there's no selfishness going on. The selfish teams don't do shit.
Right.
It's the teams that play for each other. They don't care who gets all the credit. They just want to win. They love being around their team, their teammates, their coaches, and that's a great thing. Unfortunately, we can't bottle that and have that every year, but we'd love to.
All right, Coach, I love you. Hey, we have a lot to talk about down the farm. We got Roki Sasaki and more, so let's not waste more time. Let's take a trip down the farm. Welcome to Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. So glad that you decided to tune in to check out all the action down with the Dodgers Major League affiliates, minor league affiliates, I should say, last night. And who you're seeing right here is Roki Sasaki. Roki Sasaki got off to a very, very, very rough start last night. Gave up 4 runs in the first inning, 2 home runs, and the velo was like 92-94. But from the first inning on, Roki Sasaki absolutely recovered, and he threw the rest of the 4 innings scoreless, and then he actually retired 11 of his last 12 batters, 7 hitters in a row. He started landing the splitter and the slider a lot better. So a rough start to Roki Sasaki, but then a good recovery, and then a very, very, very good finish. So very much so mixed results. I don't think this is a situation to where you can really kind of look at this and go, well, he's imminent to the major leagues, because I think, there's just too much in terms of uncertainty as to what he can bring you. Because last night, like I said, the first inning was not something that was much of a positive thing at all for him. But it is good to see that on a big picture level, that Roki Sasaki was able to recover and finish the last 4 innings very well. So velo, it started out 92-94. It ended up right around 94-95. Still not exactly where he wants it to be, but, not something that is not exactly where he wants it to be. Let's put it to you that way. And then another rehab last night, Kyle Hurt. He actually made his first action back since his Tommy John, and he did give up a run in his 1 inning that he pitched last night. but that's here nor there. That doesn't matter in your first outing out. Kyle, it's good to see Kyle Hurt back, and he is a guy that, as he continues to put innings underneath your belt, you would have to hope that he can be a guy that might be considered for help at the major league level. Who knows? You only have like 24 games left, but I will say this: Kyle Hurt will get plenty of opportunities to show what he's capable of. Although, Austin and I talked about on our last show just exactly how crowded that 13-man roster is going to be for the playoff roster, which is what it would be for a Kyle Hurt to actually make the postseason roster there. So, hey, we'll keep an eye on we won't get unrealistic about Kyle Hurt or anything like that, but we will keep an eye on his progress. And beyond that, it's just good to see Kyle Hurt back and playing well. If you remember yesterday's Down the Farm, I mentioned how the last at bat for Josue De Paula was probably the most comfortable swing that he had since he had come back from rehab. Well, how about last night having a huge game for Great Lakes in a huge series? The Great Lakes Loons actually lost in 10 innings, but it was not because of Josue De Paula. He hit a home run in his first at bat last night. He hit this opposite field double, so no doubt about that. Josue De Paula, he is back and he is comfortable and he is swinging the bat like we are accustomed to seeing Josue De Paula swing. So good to see that on all different levels. And then another guy who has just been absolutely fantastic, a guy I've been telling you about all year that you need to know about. This is left-hander out of KU, Evan Shaw, 2.1 innings last night, 1 hit, no runs, no strikeouts, and no walks. Evan Shaw, ERA 2.25, whip 108, average against of 170, and Shaw has gone scoreless in 7 outings in a row. His ERA is down to 2.25, his whip is 108, and his average against is 170. So Evan Shaw has been pitching very, very well. And another guy who has been sneaky good, a guy that hit 98.9, so darn near hit exactly 99. I know the Dodgers are very stingy. They will not call that 99 if it is 89.9. So let's just say 98.9. There you go. That is Cam Day. Wow. Right at 99 last night, 98.9, 2.1 innings pitched, 1 hit, no runs, 4 strikeouts, no walks. Cam Day has gone scoreless in 11 of his last 12 outings and has an ERA of just 171 since July 22nd. So Cam Day has been very good. And as we move to the AA level, if you watch Dodgers Dawgs as part of the Dodgers Daily Network much at all, you know that I really, really like the potential of one Mr. Kyle Nevin. And the reason is I like his ability to do that. Just use the big part of the field, gather hits up the middle. I think he's going to be able to be a guy that can gather a lot of hits, but then also do this, have pull side power. I think he has the ability to do both of those types of situations. So I really like Kyle Nevin, and we'll continue to monitor. He had kind of his season derailed to an extent by injury this year. Hopefully next year he can stay healthy throughout the entire season, and we can see exactly how much growth Kyle Nevin can show next year. I think next year is going to be a big year for him. And then this is Taylor Young right here. He leads the AA Tulsa Drillers in hits, tied with Chris Newell with 102. And kind of like Austin Gothard, I think, of course, I'm speaking for Taylor, but I think I can say this because I know his situation well enough. And if he disagrees, then maybe he will disagree. But let me say this, just strictly my opinion. This doesn't come from him. This is just me knowing him as well as I do. He's the all-time hits leader ever at Louisiana Tech. I think he's in an organization that values slug over getting on base and gathering hits. And so I think Taylor Young, like Austin Gothard, came into the season thinking he needed to add slug. And because of that, come about June or July, he was in foreign territory. He had lost his swing. He has lost his style. He had lost basically his identity. And so like Gothard, I think at times he's had to go back to his roots and just be the player he is. The player he is gathering hits, being a pest to the other team, stealing bases, having an incredible baseball IQ, and just being a really tough, gritty dude on a baseball field. So just be the best version of that, because I think that is good enough. And so good to see Taylor Young have 102 hits on the season. And that's all the time we have for Dodgers Daily Down on the Farm. I want to thank you for tuning in. You Dodgers Dogs are the best. And as always, go Dodgers.